Health Minister Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda has warned of a third wave of COVID-19 if people in the country relax in observing preventive measures as outlined by health experts. Chiponda, who is also co-chairperson of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, says there is a need to continue adhering to the measures even though the country is observing a downward trend in the positivity rate, admissions and deaths. Matthews Gasanda has more in this report.
Chiponda says failure to adhere to COVID-19 preventive measures may lead to increased transmission of the disease in communities, which might lead to resurgence of the massive transmission of the disease, which can result in a third wave of the pandemic in the country. Chiponda said this in the COVID-19 situation update statement on Saturday 13th March 2021. She says reports show that other countries are going through increased community transmissions, while another country is experiencing a third wave. She therefore says there's a need for collective effort to effectively reduce and stop the coronavirus from spreading further. She has urged Malawians to continue following all preventive and containment measures as well as getting vaccinated. Malawi Health Equity Network Mehin Executive Director George Jobe has concurred with Chiponda, stating that this is the time when Malawians need to be more careful.
We remember last year, around September and October, the numbers went down. And at that time, people relaxed because they thought COVID-19 had come to an end. So much that when returnees from South Africa were coming here, we were taken unawares and the numbers went up again. So this time we have indeed seen that the numbers are going down. It is very good that as a nation we are observing what is happening in other countries. This information must be used to ensure that the Malawians wake up and the relaxation that is taking place at the moment should be dealt with. Masks must be enforced.
By Saturday last week, cumulatively, the country had recorded 32,789 cases of COVID-19, out of which 1,082 had died.
Meanwhile, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, some boarding secondary schools in the country are grappling with a shortage of bed space, with some students sharing beds. For instance, at Mzuzu Government Secondary School, 72 learners share beds because of a lack of mattresses that has come about as a result of an increase in the enrollment rate. Patience Lunda with a report.
Mzuzu Government Secondary School head teacher Vincent Mdolo said the school is supposed to accommodate at least 480 learners, but enrollment has been increasing over the years without an increase in resources. Currently, Mzuzu Government Secondary School has an enrollment of 660. Mdoro said the challenge has become worrisome with the COVID-19 pandemic because most students fail to procure personal protective equipment.
The capacity of the school and the enrollment of the school are not balancing. The capacity of the school is supposed to be 480, but because the government prioritizes access to education, it has increased the capacity to 600 learners, but the infrastructure has not expanded. So the major challenge we have is bed space and mattresses as well. We have bed space for only 550 students, and we don't have enough mattresses.
It is out of this background that the Mzuzu Government Secondary School Alumni Association donated various PPEs to the institution in a quest to alleviate the existing challenge. General Secretary for the association, Chikosa Kelvin Konje, said they have started raising funds to purchase 300 mattresses to assist in decongesting the school's hostels.
Reckon the situation we are in, prevalence of COVID-19, we thought we need to come in and be part of the remedy by making a small donation. We're sitting down very soon and see if we can mobilize resources and get the necessary number of mattresses.
Some of the donated items include face shields, sanitizer dispensers, hand sanitizers, knapsack sprayers, chlorine, and gloves.
And Minister of Agriculture, Robin Lowe, has stressed on the importance of post-harvest care, saying it would be painful for Malawi to lose part of its hard-earned agricultural produce this year through post-harvest losses. The minister was speaking in Lilongwe when he launched a campaign on the matter. He said Malawi loses about 20% of its harvest annually to post-harvest pests such as weevils. Daunga Sabola with the details.
Speaking in Lilongwe, Lowe said government has invested a lot of money in ensuring that the country is food secure, saying farmers need to take extra precaution in taking care of their produce. He said it will be very painful for the authorities to see that some of the produce expected this year is destroyed by weevils.
When we talk of post-harvest losses, the problem is very big. And in this case, I'm looking at our investment in AIP. We are talking of 10 to 20% post-harvest losses, and this year we'll have bumper harvest up to 4.4 million metric tons, meaning that if we consider 10 to 20%, we are talking of 400,000 metric tons to 800,000 metric tons. If we talk of bags, this could mean 8 million to 16 million 50 kg bags lost because of post-harvest issues.
Feed the Future Chief of Party Carl Lekins said the new technology is very affordable to the poorest of the poor Malawians.
Yes, it's very affordable. In fact, I would say you can't afford not to use the bag. So if you use a typical bag for grain storage and you put a telic in it, the cost is the same. With this bag, you can use it for 3 to 4 years if you take care of it. So yes, it's definitely affordable for Malawi.
Malawi is this year expected to harvest about 4.4 million metric tons of maize, mainly driven by increased fertilizer supply as a result of the Affordable Input Subsidy Program.
Malawi Electoral Commission Chairperson Justice Chifundo Kachale has urged chiefs to lead their subjects in following proper campaigning procedures while observing COVID-19 preventive measures. The call comes ahead of by-elections slated for the 30th of this month. Justice Kachale gave the advice yesterday during an engagement with chiefs in Lilongwe Msinja South constituency. Matthews Kasanda has the details.
Kachale says chiefs in the country have to lead their subjects in making sure that all campaign gatherings that will be taking place in their areas are being done while following the COVID-19 preventive measures. He has further challenged the chiefs to make sure that there is peace and coexistence among followers of different political parties throughout the campaign period. Kachale believes chiefs are key in spreading the right message to people in their areas, adding that people respond to what the chiefs say. Senior Group Nsepe says he understands that they have a responsibility to make sure that every candidate is given an equal opportunity to campaign. Our responsibility as chiefs is to explain to the people about the by-election. Another responsibility is to allow the candidates organize their campaign gatherings peacefully. We also have to urge youth to take part in elections, but not through violence. The by-elections are expected to take place on 30 March this year in 7 constituencies: Nsanje Central, Nsanje North, Chikwawa East, Karonga Northwest, Zomba Changalume, Lilongwe Nsinja South, and Nchisi North. There will also be elections in Livilidzi Ward in Balaka and Chitagali Ward in Mulanje.
You're watching the news on Times Television, TTV. We now take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Define your surroundings with the color of your choice. Make it warm, creative, friendly, and vibrant. Coat textures, durable color options, with up to 1,200 color shades to choose from. Be it economy range or premium range paints, innovative paint and color technology in every drop. Available in Blantyre, Build Africa, and Limbi Corner Mart Building, and in Lilongwe along M12 Road close to Gateway Mall. Tropical Paints, your world in color.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Welcome back. As the national tree planting season progresses, organizations continue to engage in activities to contribute to the reforestation drive. One such organization is Helpline Malawi, which organized a tree planting exercise with the people of Kwagwanji village in the area of Traditional Authority Amidu in Balaka district for the cause. Laston Nkhani attended the event and has compiled this report read by Erita Soko.
Helpline Malawi is a youth organization which was founded by the former Vice President of Malawi, Kassim Chilima, with the aim of building the next generation of leaders. Chilima has urged the Malawi government to involve the youth in all development activities to achieve maximum development. He said this when Helpline Malawi was planting trees together with the people of Kwagwanji village in Balaka district.
Helpline is involved in a number of activities, not just tree planting. This organization is building the next generation of leaders. The thinking is that we have to help those who are willing to work with Helpline to ensure that they acquire the skills to provide leadership in Malawi. This is very critical. The organization is involved in education activities, health activities, provision of water, indeed politics. It's one of the things that we want to encourage, that Malawians must be involved in politics. Just for one of the simple reasons is that to ensure that accountability in the way we run Malawi flourishes. Because if people develop a negative attitude to politics, what happens is that then our leaders are left loose to do whatever they can, and they can easily bring tyranny back into the country or use resources of the country knowing that nobody is going to raise a finger against it. So I think that we need to give our youth the opportunity to be in the middle of all development efforts in all areas, without excluding any area. All the areas, starting from politics itself, which sometimes is regarded as an untouchable area. Starting from politics itself, health, environment, and all this, all of us, we have to work together as Malawians.
James Jambo is the Assistant District Forestry Officer for Balaka District, and he thanked Helpline Malawi for the timely initiative of planting trees in the area.
The trees that have been received here, symbolically we have seen that we have planted very few. So the rest of the trees will be planted by the wider community with guidance or support from the development communities at the local level. We ask the community to take care of the trees that have been planted. The other committee can say go to Helpline Malawi for the support, for complementing government efforts to make sure that the tree cover within Balaka is a success.
Helpline Malawi has so far planted trees in other districts like Chiradzulu and Nkhotakota.
Chamber for Small and Medium Businesses Associations has applauded some government departments for following the procurement law as gazetted in the SME order of the year 2020. Executive Secretary for the Chamber, James Chiuti, says they have noted that a number of parastatals and government agencies have started complying with the law. Rebecca Chimjeka has more in this report, read by Audrey Kapalamwa.
The SME order demands entities to reserve space for SMEs to supply goods and services to the government and its agencies. Chiuti said Central Medical Stores Trust and the Malawi Electoral Commission are among some government institutions that have fully complied with the SME's order.
In December last year, the government gazetted what is known as the SME Order 2020, SME, Small and Medium Enterprises Order 2020. This order then empowers ministries, departments and agencies to buy goods at preferential rate from SMEs. So what we mean is there's a preference that ministries or government departments should buy special goods from SMEs. The order states that there is particular type of goods. There's a huge list of goods. For example, masks, fumigation services and other services. All this, the government departments have been told to be buying from small and medium enterprises.
Chiuti has since requested the Ministry of Trade to start producing the color code certificates as stipulated in the SME Order 2020 to allow applications for the coded certificates to be processed in the absence of the tax clearance certificate. He also advised government agencies to emulate the buying and disposal entities in the government to start implementing the order. Meanwhile, Center for Social Accountability and Transparency Executive Director Wile Kampwandira has welcomed the development, advising more government MDAs to comply with the order. Implementation of the order comes amid growing public concern that SMEs were unable to do business with government due to stiff competition from big players that monopolized almost all sectors in the economy.
The international news now. Boko Haram militants have terrorized northeastern Nigeria for more than a decade, driving what the United Nations says are more than 2 million people from their homes. VOA's Haruna Shehu visited with internally displaced people in Borno State as authorities prepare to resettle them closer to home, and he filed this report.
This is Kawarmaila, an unofficial camp in Maiduguri, where more than 3,000 people have been living for the last 7 years since Boko Haram militants dropped them from the countryside into the Borno State capital. Having escaped the Islamic extremists, they still face enormous challenges, struggling to get food and basic health care to educate their children to reimagine a future.
Life is very difficult. We are suffering.
Mohammed Abba had a farm in Kondoga local government area. Now, he, his wife, and 5 children live in a single cramped room.
During the rainy season, you will be shocked to see how we must cope. This room floods and we can't sleep. I used to farm in Kondoga, raise animals and do trading. But this is our situation today.
His neighbor Falmata Abukar also came from Kondoga with her husband. She blames inadequate health care in the camp for a son going blind in one eye.
My child fell ill. He didn't open his eye for 4 days. He cannot see with that eye now. The eye is beyond repair.
Widows with children live in a donated warehouse. More than 180 people in rooms marked by hanging sheets of fabric or plastic. Women often sit together in the center, chatting while sifting ground maize to make a traditional dish called biski. The camp's residents are trying to make ends meet. In daylight outside, women do needlework, crafting hats and other items to sell. So do girls who back home would have been in school. Borno State has 32 official displaced camps and roughly 200 informal settlements supported by the state and federal governments, as well as by international partners including UNICEF, the Norwegian Refugee Council, Save the Children, and Doctors of the World. Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum says authorities are working to resettle many of the displaced by year's end.
The IDPs are tired of life in the camps. They complain to us day and night about their plight. They don't have food, and their children are being exploited. They need to return to their homes.
Governor Zulum says that depends on asserting control over Boko Haram and protecting civilians.
We have to first ensure their safety. We don't want to resettle people where there is no security.
Many of the homes of displaced people were destroyed or are in areas still vulnerable to Boko Haram attack. So, for now, authorities are moving to resettle people in cities closer to home that are patrolled by security troops. Fish trader Abagana Kolomi says insecurity in his hometown near Lake Chad restricts how people can earn a living.
People cannot go to fishing. They cannot find food anywhere because no one has cultivated his farm or raised animals.
Venturing from better protected cities to fish, farm, or do other chores in Borno State can be dangerous. Last month, a group of displaced people gathering firewood near the town of Dambua were abducted and 5 killed in a suspected Boko Haram attack. Haruna Shehu, VOA News, Maiduguri, Nigeria.
That's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines again. Health Minister Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda warns of a third wave of COVID-19 if people relax preventive measures. Boarding schools grapple with a shortage of bed space in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. And government on a drive to reduce post-harvest losses. You've been with me, Ronald Mpaso, but you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website, www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page, Times360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up always. Please stay safe and enjoy the night.
Lovely evening. I'm Edita Soko with the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Expect scattered rain associated with thunderstorms due to the Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ, which is oscillating over Malawi. Advisory: threat of flash floods is high, therefore avoid crossing flooded or fast-flowing waters. In the Shire Valley, expect cloudy with isolated rain tonight and during morning, hot with rain over a few areas later in the day. Southern Highlands expect rain over more areas tonight and during morning, and partly cloudy with scattered rain in the afternoon. Central areas expect localized rain and thunderstorms tonight and in the morning, scattered rain during the afternoon. In the lakeshore areas, locally heavy rain associated with thunderstorms tonight and during morning, and scattered rain and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Northern areas expect localized heavy rain with thunderstorms tonight and during morning, and rains and thunderstorms are expected over more areas during the afternoon. Forecast temperatures: Ngabo a minimum of 23 and a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. Blantyre a minimum of 17 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 25. Lilongwe a minimum of 18 and a maximum of 25. Mangochi a minimum of 22 and a maximum of 28. Mzuzu a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 25. Wind variable but gusty in stormy areas. Forecast for Tuesday: reduction in rainfall mainly over the south. We'll now give you the times for sunrise and sunset for tomorrow, the 15th of March 2021. In Zuzu, the sun will rise at 12 minutes to 6 and set at a minute to 6. In Lilongwe, the sun will rise at 13 minutes to 6 and set at 6 o'clock. In Blantyre, the sun will rise at 18 minutes to 6 and set at 4 minutes to 6. That's